Howdy, guys, and welcome to night 46 of Big Brother Season 24's overnight feed recaps. And welcome to Cliff Notes. All right, a good Sunday to y'all. I hope everyone got a little sleep last night. I did because the feeds were out almost the entire night. Well, almost the entire night, the feeds were out. I got a little sleep as a result of it. I waited as long as I could to record this program. And actually, the feeds did just come back on. So I'll talk a little bit about what we're seeing. Not too much news to report. But before the feeds cut out, we did have a few conversations. So I'll talk about that. I'll talk about what I'm seeing right now and then maybe talk about one or two little things as well. So, first of all, as I mentioned, before the feeds went down, we did have a few conversations that are probably worth talking about. As a bit of a refresher, remember that indoors, we've got Jasmine and Monty on the block. Brittany won veto. So with Michael as HOH, Brittany with the veto, that couple controls everything that's happening in the house. They're almost certain for Brittany not to use a veto. Jasmine will be going home, but Jasmine's hoping that Monty's the actual target. They've let on that that's the case. So Jasmine's thinking it's Monty. Everyone else thinking it's Jasmine. It's going to be Jasmine. All right, unless something happens between now and Thursday. Outside, a little more chaos, although it seems like plans are coming together. Outside, we'd had Terrence place Turner and Joseph on the block after Kyle spilled the beans about the Leftovers alliance and everything that had happened and everything. In fact, there was another conversation yesterday where Kyle even went into just a little bit more detail, gave Terrence the name The Leftovers, said, you got everything at this point, Terrence. So Kyle spilled the beans. It worked as he planned. Both he and Alyssa are off the block. Turner and Joseph are on the block instead. Joseph is a target, but Joseph is thinking that Turner's a target, kind of just like inside. The actual target doesn't necessarily realize it, although I think Joseph knows. I truly think Joseph understands what's happening here. But that's what was happening outside. We did have the veto competition for the backyarders for the outsiders yesterday, and the winner of veto is Terrence. The older guy does it 2 competitions in a row. He wins veto. Now, we don't know anything about this veto competition, or at least I didn't hear anything. If y'all know, please put it out in the comments, because I assumed it maybe would be the same kind of country fair counting comp like the insiders had, but they just didn't talk about it while I was watching. But doesn't matter. Terrence has won the veto. So between that and the HOH, he controls everything that's happening. Well, to some degree, there's 2 people voting. He'll break the tie if they don't work to agree together. But if he keeps the vetoes the same, it's going to be Alyssa and Kyle voting. I'm sure they'll vote together, right? And again, it sounds like Joseph is probably going to be the target out there. So not a good situation for Joseph. And Joseph moping around a little bit yesterday. I mean, he's taking it as best he can, but you certainly can tell that he knows his days in the house may be limited. So let's talk about the feeds. As limited as they are, let's talk about the feeds that happened yesterday. Late afternoon, early evening is our area here. We did have Jasmine pitching to Michael a little bit more about why she should not go on the block. The main thing I took away from that, she made a little comment to Michael that Monty's looking very comfortable in the house right now. In other words, Monty must really think he's in a secure position and a good position that he's acting so laid back and everything. Well, yeah, it's because he knows that he's not actually the target, Jasmine, that you are. It's why he's so comfortable. But Jasmine is trying to hint to Michael that maybe Monty's got something going on that Michael's not aware of. Again, just trying to plant the seeds that Monty needs to be the target instead of Jasmine. And I know that Michael's thinking about it. He and Brittany have talked about it a little bit. There's just a fear that they don't know what's going on outside, that if they take the shot within the Leftover alliance, get Monty out, if everyone on the outside was loyal to the cause, loyal to the alliance, comes back in and finds out that Michael and Brittany were the ones that took the first shot, they'll become the automatic targets. Michael can't compete in the HOH. So, yeah, Jasmine's planting the seed, but I just don't think they're going to take the big shot this week, which means Jasmine will continue to pitch, and it's probably not going to matter. All right. We did have Monty and Taylor talking inside a little bit as well. Monty is worried that Joseph might go home, a valid concern, Monty, and saying that they'll need to figure out how things go down in the backyard. They're worried that whenever the outsiders and the insiders come back together, that regardless of what happened outside, they may not get the actual story. Someone's going to be home. Someone's not going to be able to tell their side of the story. So they're saying we're going to have to talk to all of the house guests that come in from outside and make sure that they're actually telling the truth. And we really know what happened, especially if Joseph was out the door. Namani even at one point says, yeah, I was thinking about telling everyone when they come in that I won the veto and pulled myself off. And that's how Jasmine went home or something. So they're talking about how they can spin it inside, and they're suspecting the people outside are going to do the same thing. So there's certainly going to be a lot of discussions taking place once these two groups get back together. We had everyone is so bored inside and outside. It is so incredibly miserable to be inside that house. 7 days without access to the outside, stale air, no telling whatsoever whether it's sunny, cloudy, whatever. If I'm a prankster, I'm going in, I'm setting that clock every chance I get, setting that clock ahead about 30 minutes or so. By the time Thursday comes along, the inside house could be off by 5, 6, 7 hours. It'd be fun when they suddenly realize that things aren't quite the way it seems time-wise or anything else. But just a thought, CBS. But no, everyone's bored to tears. Inside, Monty is leading a workout that I think everyone took place in just to stay in shape a little bit. Outside, Joseph tried to do the same thing, and everyone else was like, we're good. They did get cornhole outside. So now they've got a little bit of Chinese checkers and cornhole to play. We had cornhole my season. I loved it. But they did to get cornhole, chose to do that instead of working out. Joseph worked out, but that was it. All right, we've got Brittany doing her little self, pumping up herself a little bit, talking about hypnosis, that she's only using hypnosis for good reasons, and shouting out to her client. She says to herself every night, she repeats 24 times, I am the winner of Big Brother 24. If I'd known that was all it took, I would have been saying that all day long for my season. But now she is just going on and on about hypnosis and talk about that a little bit. And with that, the feeds go out. I kept thinking it's going to come back in any moment. I had the TV on forever with the live feeds. I got the song stuck in my head yet again, but after a while it became obvious that something was going on. What is that something? We don't know. I've heard different theories. Social media going crazy saying there was a wall yeller, people claiming to be wall yellers. I went and watched the feeds over and over again right before the feeds cut. I didn't hear anything. I just didn't hear anything about wall yellers. There's also talk that maybe there was some kind of a concert or something going on that is why they cut away. But all night long, I can't picture an all night long concert taking place. But something happened. And eventually, and as I mentioned, the feeds did come back. The feeds came back about 10 o'clock or so Big Brother time this morning as the house guests are being woken up. Doesn't seem that anything is awry. But here's something a little interesting for those of you who haven't checked it out yet. They've only so far, and I still have the feeds on right now, they have only been showing the insiders as they wake up and get ready and do laundry and things like that. Now, two things about that. First of all, it looks like they're getting dressed for some kind of formal something or other, which is making me think they're probably going to do their veto ceremony today, and the outsiders maybe will do their veto ceremony together, because especially Brittany and Jasmine, they're getting dressed up as though it's something special happening today. So I expect a veto ceremony today for the insiders. The outsiders, I don't know what's going on. The feeds have not shown the outsiders for a single second. Does that mean that maybe there was a wall yeller and they got relocated to some other location? I don't know. We just don't know until the feeds come back on the outsiders. But I'm really curious to find out. All right, we've got a few minutes. I figured since there's talk about wall yellers, again, nothing is confirmed. Maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. I don't know. I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. But just because there's so much talk about the wall yellers, I thought I'd take a minute or two and talk about the wall yeller during my season, during season 21, because I was outside. Some of you may have heard a little bit of this. I'm not sure if I've told the whole story before, but season 21, outside, the only people who were outside, Nicole over on the hammock in the far corner of the backyard, myself and Tommy up in the patio area, just talking about whatever, and the typical, whatever stuff. And all of a sudden, I hear this loudspeaker voice saying, Christy and Tommy know each other. They own a clothing store together. And about that time, sirens go off. We hear the announcements. House guests, this is a lockdown. Proceed inside immediately. House guests, this is a lockdown. Proceed inside immediately. And as soon as that we heard the loudspeaker, Tommy gives me a little, says, Cliff, it's not true. It's not true. And I said, well, let's go inside. So we go inside. We're locked down. I remember one thing. I was incredibly chapped for a couple of reasons. One, I was upset that someone was trying to interfere with the game of Big Brother and manipulate, whether it was for my benefit or not, trying to manipulate the game. That just it's still chaffy. I do not like wall yellers, whether they're supporting the people I'm cheering for or whether they're opposed to the people. I just don't like wall yellers. So there you go. The other thing that made me mad is, if I recall, it was a Monday night, which meant that we had to go inside. The backyard was shut down for the rest of the day, the rest of the evening. We lost the yard, which made me mad as well. It's not fun being indoors without access to the backyard. So those were my initial thoughts. As soon as I got inside, everyone inside the house was saying what was said, what was going on. And I remember telling everyone, saying, look, it doesn't impact the game. I'm not going to talk about it. It was directed to a person. I'm just not going to talk about it right now. And then later, Nicole and I got together and said, we're not going to tell a soul about this until after the season is complete. One, because we don't want it to affect the game. Two, we didn't know if it was true or not. And if it wasn't true, it just seemed like it would be incredibly unfair to Tommy and Christy to bring it up if it wasn't untrue. I'm probably too good. I'm probably too nice for the game of Big Brother at times, right? Because it could have been used as a huge weapon. But I found out later that Tommy went into the HOH room or the diary room, and the Tom said, look, Tommy, who heard it? He said, well, Nicole and Cliff and me. I said, well, of the people who heard it, do you think that'd work to your advantage? And he said, do you think those would be the ones who would really use this as a weapon? He said, well, no, maybe not. So that was the end of it. Now, here's the thing. Why didn't I take it more seriously? Why didn't I use it as a bit more of a weapon? The problem with a wall yeller, you don't know if it's true or not. There's no way to verify that information. Now, I heard later after I got out that they played a diary room session of Christy talking about knowing Tommy not. We couldn't hear it. The sirens had already gone off. Maybe they should have led with that instead, because I didn't know anyway whether it was true or not. That particular week, Christy and Sis were on the block. I knew Sis was from LA. She had talked about some of the high-profile celebrities and celebrities' kids that she had hung out with, that she went to high school with. So I went through the season assuming Sis was a huge Instagram person, probably had a million followers and all of that. I thought it was entirely logical and possible that some wall yeller was out there who was supporting Sis by trying to throw the target on Christy by talking about Christy and Tommy. And so I really thought they were lying just to support Sis. We don't have any way to verify the information thrown out. And they tried too hard to. If they just said they know each other, maybe I would have bought it a little bit more. But when they talked about Christy and Tommy owning a clothing shop together, that didn't make sense because Christy talked too much about her shop. Tommy hadn't said a word. So it just didn't make sense to me. If I believed it, would I have tried to use it to my advantage? I don't know. I may have hinted around to Tommy a little bit more than I did, but I don't know. So there you go. I just my own personal story with the wall yellers. If you're out there, you're considering doing it, please don't. I know you think you're helping someone that you would like to see win the game. You think you're helping someone that you feel maybe has been treated badly or has been screwed over a little bit inside the house or something. I get it. We all want our person to do as well as possible, but just let the game play out. Just let the people play the game. Whoever wins, wins. Whoever doesn't. It's just a reality TV game show. That's all it is. So let the game play out. And again, I am not real fond of wall yellers. And I don't know that's what happened last night. It just gave me a little opportunity to throw out this story. All right, guys, that's it. I'm watching the feeds. We've got Jasmine and Brittany still talking. Not a sign of the outsiders. I don't know. We had a conspiracy theory on the wall comp earlier, right? I hope aliens didn't come down in the backyard, just kidnap all 5 house guests from the backyard, and we're going to have a whole different kind of game. If that's the case, call Kat Dunn. I'm sure she can give y'all a few details. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Sunday. Be watching the feeds. We'll have a lot to talk about tomorrow morning once we see what's happening on with the outsiders. assuming we ever see him again, right? Guys, y'all have a great Sunday. I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.